Nicholls finishing with a 6-5 record in 2021, their 5th straight winning season, longest stretch in school history. They also were displaced by Hurricane Ida just a couple weeks before the season, so certainly wasn't an easy start. Nearly knocked off a top 25 eventual team in Louisiana a few weeks later. 2 years in a row without making the FCS playoffs. Previously, they made a streak of 3 straight, so they'll try to get back there with a talented group of returners, including a pair of all Southland Conference running backs. First time in school history they've had a couple all-conference running backs on the team at the same time. Joined today by a guy who, again, needs no introduction, one of the veterans of the conference, Tim Rebowe. You're number 8 now. Crazy to think. We've got defensive lineman Glen Thurmond, preseason all-conference quarterback Kohen Granier. Coach, great to have you here. Take me through the excitement level for your group getting back on the field and now trying to get back to where you have been in the past in terms of reaching the FCS playoffs.
Yeah, good. Thanks for having us, Jack. And I'm excited to have these 2 young men with me here right here. They do a tremendous job representing our program, the leadership, things that they bring. So I'm excited to have them with us. Look, it's been a good off-season, a tough off-season. Obviously, you don't finish where you want to. I thought we were playing some good ball at the end of the year. We had won 4 out of the last 5 games. Unfortunately, we lost a home game, which we don't usually do, and it ended up knocking us out of the playoffs. But we went to work. Like everybody's going to be talking about, you're building your roster, you're changing, you're managing your team. I thought we had a good off season, and I thought the summer worked. And I know, coaches get excited about what are they doing in the summer, but we've been having over 90 players working out every day this summer, going through walkthroughs, having the meeting time, doing the conditioning, and it's getting close. We got another couple days left to go. We get back, we report August the 4th, and we'll be ready to go on August the 5th.
How wild is it for you to think that it is year 8? When it's been, in fact, you've been here so long. I think the last time it was here, Lake Charles, you were probably in year 2. Yeah,
we had that discussion. We did have it here in the old veteran of the crew. I don't know. It's such a good conference. I'm excited about the direction and where we're going, the leadership that we have. I'm really excited about that. And again, Southland Conference football, you better be ready every week.
Tell me about adding Texas A&M Commerce, Lamar coming back. What's your feeling on where the conference is right now?
No, I really like it. I mean, again, good coaches. We had some tremendous meetings here yesterday, and all the guys get along. They understand the direction that we got to go, what we want to do. We're building it. I think Chris Grant and his group is doing an outstanding job of putting this thing together. The thing that happens, when you from a coaching staff, though, you look at it, and we just got to go to work every day. And it was the ADs, it was the presidents, Dr. Clune and JT, filled me in a little bit about where we're going to go, but I was very, very confident in the direction it was going to go. It was going to get put back together, and I think right where we need to be.
Kohen, preseason all-conference, there's expectations attached to that, especially for a guy who you came on late, started the final couple of games. We saw what you're able to do. What has it been like now taking the reins as the presumed guy and now trying to lead, knowing that in the past you've sat behind a couple of guys? You think about Chase Fourk and Lindsey Scott in the past. What's it been like growing into this role as the number 1 guy?
It's been amazing. It's been something I've been looking forward to for a long time, and to finally get the opportunity and the respect to actually do it has been interesting, but it's been good, and I'm looking forward to it for the rest of the season. And yeah, it's been great.
Been a long journey for you. I think about 2017, I think it was, you arrived. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You've done some aging over that time, had the major knee injury you had to recover from, again, sat behind a bunch of guys. What have you learned about yourself over this span of finally now getting your shot as the starting quarterback for this team?
Oh, man, you learn so much about yourself if you go through some of those experiences over and over again. And just that, I earned it. I'm proud of myself, and I'm looking forward to earning that Southland championship, that all-conference, that all the accolades that I'm aiming for. I'm looking forward to obtaining those. And, yeah, man, I mean, just to never give up and stay true to yourself.
Glenn, it's funny. I asked Kohen about, being here for 6-7 years. You're the same way. You've been around for a while. And the other thing, too, and Coach and I have discussed this in the past, but the continuity of the coaching staff, especially the coordinators, from a Tommy Rybank perspective with the defense, Rob Christoffel with the offense, what's that been like being around for so long now, knowing the culture that you can basically just impart it on the younger guys and teach them the way you do things at Nicholls?
Right. So we basically haven't changed anything. You know what I'm saying? We keep it straightforward. You know what I'm saying? We keep it simple. And I feel like Coach Ryback, they do a great job. They do a great job on our coaching staff of keeping things simple, you know what I'm saying? Like Coach Rebowe said, simple wins. So we just keep everything simple, and I'm so glad that we didn't have to make no coaching staff changes.
Mm-hmm. One coaching staff change that I think at least is important to note from an offensive line perspective. You guys have been so good from a line perspective year in, year out. I mean, P.J. Burkhalter being a 3-time All-American, I think he's the second one in the history of the FCS first team with Cooper Kupp as well, Coach. But to have the linemen come in year out the way they have and now have a new line coach, what's that been like transitioning?
I think it's been an easy transition. A lot of these guys knew Kyle Skierski. He's worked our camp. He comes every summer. He hangs out with us. So it's been an easy transition. He's fit right in and just really took off, right where Lee left it. So, again, that's a room that has some experience. We got some guys who are returning, all-conference guys like Evan Roussel. We got Bailey Trusty. We got Titus Jones, who played Mikael Hill. I can go on and on. We're getting Jeremiah James back. So I think he has a good room to work with, and they're just going to continue right where we left off.
And that has to also help you out, Kohen. You think about the guys that are in front of you and able to block. How much confidence does that give you as a signal caller?
A huge amount of confidence. Those guys, they have experience as well. And not all those guys started last year, but they've all been rotating and they have experience. And I have a lot of confidence in those guys, and I love them to death. And they love me, and that means a lot. So.
Take me through Kohen a little bit here, Coach, and kind of that quarterback spot. It's one that, if you want to call it grateful with the talent that you've had come through here. Obviously, you arrive and Chase Fourcade becomes who he is and goes on to have an all-conference type career. What have you seen from Kohen now in his growth, being around the program for so long, why he's ready now to take this next step, and what you've liked most about his emergence here? Oh,
look, I will have to agree with Kohen when he said this, that he's earned it. Everything that he has earned. It hasn't come easy to him. From the injuries to going in and competing every year. He does that. But what he's done, too, is he never did sit there and pout or get obviously you get frustrated, you want to play, but he just continued to learn, continue to grow. His maturity level is just tremendous in what he can do, and you see that around the players. They have the utmost respect for him, and from that position, you want a guy that they're going to lay it on the line for, and I think he brings that to them. But just his knowledge of defenses and the growth he's made in our offense that he does with Coach Rob, I think he's ready to take that big next step.
It felt to me, Kohen, that the win at McNeese, first time you guys have won there in the hole since 2008, for you to come in the way you did late in that game and then find a way to win the game and throw a touchdown and be consistent. I don't know if you want to call it your coming out party, but that felt like a culture moment for this program. To have someone like you be able to step in, Coach always talks about it being, next man up mentality.
Right, I'd have to agree. I think that was a big step in, like I said, gaining that respect from my teammates and from the coaching staff as well. It takes a lot to come off the bench and perform like that. So, I was very proud of the performance, and with the win, means everything to me. So that was huge.
Glen, take me through the defense a little bit. Got a bunch of all-conference guys there. You're one who obviously could be. I think of guys like Perry Gansey and Zach Bernard on the line. You got a talented linebacking core, a bunch of guys in the secondary. What are you most excited about with this defense upcoming season?
I'm most excited about our communication on defense. During the spring, I feel like our communication has been by far the best since I've seen it. Our coaches do a great job of giving us the call, and everything's incorporated in the call. So the DBs know what coverage they're playing, linebackers get us the calls, going to get us lined up. So I feel like that's something big for us so we can play fast.
From a defensive perspective, Coach, I think giving up big plays was probably the number one thing last year at times for this group. Is that something in terms of trying to be addressed? What other things did you see that you guys need to address and get better at the start of the season?
Well, I think as always, when you look at it from both sides of the football, on offensive you want big plays, and on defense you wanted to limit those plays. I thought we played well at times on defense. I thought we got after it. Obviously, another big aspect would be the turnovers. We've got to limit the turnovers on the offensive side of the ball, and we got to be able to create them. And, what Glen talked about us keeping it simple on defense, we like to be able to run to the football. We got some guys that can do it. I think Rebowe does an outstanding job of putting these guys in the right position, getting them to play hard, and then you got a chance to win some ball games.
I think about you guys last year, and for both Glen and Coach, you faced the two All-American quarterbacks in terms of Kelly and Ward twice, and limited them pretty good. I think Cameron Ward had his lowest passing game against you in the game in Thibodeau, and did a pretty good job against Cole Kelly as well. Take me through the pride that takes, Glen, to shut down quarterbacks like that, and what that's taken from a defense as a whole, because quarterbacks have been so good in this conference.
Right. So our main focus is the first to stop the run. And then from there, we could get them in those long-distance situations so we can, go and have a little fun, go and rush the quarterback. So that's something. And then I feel like that communication aspect, everybody knowing what they have to do, being in the right spot, being there at the right time, you know what I mean? And I feel like that plays a big part.
Got to ask you about the run game. It's been the calling card for this team, and the emergence of Colin Guggenheim, first of all. What he did in the Riverbowe Classic was remarkable, 266 rushing yards, a record for a Southland Conference game at the school. People might forget about Julian Gums, and that's a mistake with how good he's been. Just a couple of years ago, Coach, he was a sophomore All-American and rushed for 1,200 yards. Take me through how excited you are about a backfield that could and very well should be one of the best in the FCS.
Well, I know these guys have not forgot about Julian Gums. When you watch how he's working this summer and getting after it. But it's really good to go into a season where you have so much depth at that position. And I'm telling you again, I think we can go 5 or 6 guys deep at that running back spot. We got some guys that didn't really play a lot last year that's having a great offseason. You look at it, Jalen Spears is a guy, I think he's ready to break out a little bit. Marquise Albert, who broke his leg, he's ready to come back. John Carrington, Jake Delmato. We got a group of guys that can step up and go. But once again, it starts up front. They know that. Kohen spoke earlier about, the passing game got to help the running game. The running game got to help the passing game. But we're excited about those numbers in the backfield.
Cohen, I think about the Riverbowe Classic win last year, not only from a program momentum and culture standpoint, securing a winning season, you beat your arch rivals, but you did it without Dejon Dixon, who signed a free agent deal with the Saints, as good a receiver as the FCS has seen in a while. You basically were throwing to KJ Franklin, who's been an all-conference guy, Aldontre Davis. Take me through your confidence level knowing that you've won with those guys, and now you get more time, reps, get better, plus you add in some different bodies. What's that been like, and where's your confidence level with those two?
My confidence level is always gaining with those guys, especially the guys that you have not mentioned, like David Robinson, Terry Matthews, some of the guys that have not had the breakout years yet, and just over the offseason, just throwing with those guys, building relationships, building some chemistry. And you can't replace a guy like Dejon Dixon, but with everybody we have a lot of talent, and we have some depth. So a lot of freshmen coming in. So, we just got to keep building that chemistry, and we'll be all right.
What did you learn the most from the quarterbacks before you about building that chemistry with your receivers, with your offensive line, and even the running backs, too?
Chase Fourk did a great job of showing me how to be a great leader. Chase was an amazing leader, always being positive with the O-line, the receivers, working after hours, throwing with those guys on the weekends, and, just those type of things, just hanging out with those guys, taking them to dinner, and being friends with them, those are family. It's family.
Mm-hmm. Coach, I mentioned Dejon Dixon and moving on as a receiver. I wanted to ask you, too, from a program standpoint, to have a guy like that sign a deal with the Saints, and now you have players pushing towards professional contracts. What does that say about your program and where you guys are right now?
No, it says a lot that you can come here, you can get a great education, you can have some success on the football field and get a shot to fulfill your dream at the next level. And that's what all those guys want to go through. And I think we speak from the FCS program across the board is you mentioned a guy, Cooper Kupp. You don't have to go to all the big schools and play at the FBS level to fulfill your dreams and where you want to be. So it does help the next guy. It helps the next guy from Edna Clark High School. It helps the next guy in our program that you can get it done from here.
You hit upon an important point, mentioning Edna Clark. Both of you guys are Louisiana guys. Not only that, but we think about the radius of where Coach has recruited, the river parishes, New Orleans, the whole area around Thibodaux. What's that been like, having so many guys on the team who you played against in high school, who you go against every day in practice, and just the ability to kind of have relationships just going into college in general? That's got to help the camaraderie of the team right away.
Mm-hmm. We always joke about it, what I'm saying? We always be in the locker room joking about, like, high school rivalries and things like that. But I feel like it brings us more together, like bonding in the locker room and things like that. And we always talk about it every day. Every day we talk about it before workouts, after workouts, always watching videos and highlights of people and everything like that.
Probably watching all each other's high school games, too,
right.
and arguing about it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What about you, Cohen? Just playing with so many local guys.
Like you said, arguing about it. We argue every day about who to beat who because everybody got a lot of pride. River Parish football is huge down in the bayou. So we always arguing about who to beat who and what year. And the guys from the city think that they could take all the guys from the river parishes. So, it's always an argument. But it does mean a lot because we all know each other, I love my guys from out of state, but we don't know those schools. We know what type of football they played. So it definitely means a lot to have a lot of guys from Louisiana.
It's a unique situation because you have so many guys coming together that was your rival in high school, and he may be your roommate, or he's right in the locker next to you, and you become your best buddy.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. We'll open up for Q&A as well now, too. If you got a question, raise your hand, state your name, affiliation. We can we'll try to get to anyone who might have a question as well. Coach, thinking about, we'll hang on for a second here. Thinking about the facility upgrades that you guys have made. I know last year was year one with the Book Vault complex, and you guys can answer this too, but just take me through what that did for your program last year and now how excited you are to just have it continuing moving forward.
The whole entering the new building last year was kind of bittersweet because obviously when you run into construction, there was a little bit of a delay on when we were going to move in. We did not actually move into the building, but the day that we reported. So we get in it, and we had a quick team meeting in it. We went and saw the locker room, and then we came back out and we said, okay, now go in the old locker room, grab all your stuff, and bring it back in. And so it was really exciting time. We got to enjoy it a couple of days. Then obviously we got hit with the storm. We were displaced. We were out of it. I don't think we really got into the whole flow of the building. There was a lot of new things that you had to do on, to dress, to go to a meeting, then get your stuff and go to practice. All that stuff, plays in when you move into something new. And then I thought we got better as a year. Now we have a whole off season to do that.
Yeah, for both of you guys, it probably puts in perspective when you got to go through the hurricane. We were talking to Southeastern about this too, but you have those 2 weeks. You're going to Memphis a week earlier, staying there a week late. It probably puts in perspective, and you're pretty grateful now entering this season, having a normal off season.
Oh, yeah. I was saying earlier, Coach called us up one day and said, yeah, we're getting on a bus tomorrow to go to Memphis. Y'all be here and be ready. So it's nice to have a set schedule and to know what we have planned out this year, and that's going to mean a lot.
Kohen, let me ask you, too. We were talking about development and learning behind different guys. A big thing, and Coach has always talked about this, but a huge thing with Thibodeau and Nicholls has been the Manning Passing Academy. And to have the best in the country there, you have the ability to be a counselor for the first time, get to throw with the best, you name anyone out there, from Bryce Young to guys down the line, C.J. Stroud, whoever. Take me through that experience, being a counselor, learning from Eli, Peyton, and just being around guys who are the best in the country, working on your craft.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a very unique experience. Not a lot of guys get to experience that. To be around a bunch of guys that go through the same thing as you, that have the same kind of role in their team as you do, and also just to be around those professionals. I mean, you get to learn a lot from those guys. You spend a lot of time with them. They spend a lot of time with you. They want to learn. They want you to learn from them, and as well as the kids. Those kids, they look up to us in some ways, and it's just good. It's cool to experience that. So
when you talk about it being different, for Kohen, two things when you throwing and you throw in extra and you're calling the guys up to go and throw, as maybe it's not the starting quarterback, but you're still going to go out there and throw. I think the guys kind of know. Well, now he knows he's the guy. It takes on a different perspective. Same thing with the MPA. When he was there, he's filled in before and helped with some counsel, but now he is the guy, and he is your starting quarterback, and he goes into that. And I will say this, in watching him throw through all those drills and with all the quarterbacks and all the competition, he belonged.
What's the biggest thing you learned from the Mannings, if anything?
Well, first of all, that film room, they were real big on the film room. Watch a lot of film and just be with your guys. Those guys will go to war with you, and so treat them like it, and that's really the two main things.
Glenn, from a defensive personnel perspective, we know some of the known guys. I mentioned, Perry Gansey, Hayden Shaheen, who's been an all-conference guy. Who's anyone who's impressed you? Younger guys, anyone who's stuck out, who you think could have a breakout season to put you on the spot a little bit?
Be careful.
We have
man.
a
You guys are watching me at home.
I guess you gotta name everybody. That won't be fair.
We have a linebacker, Colin White. This spring, he did phenomenal. He had a bunch of turnovers created. He made a lot of tackles for losses. You know what I mean? That's somebody who stuck out to me from a defensive perspective. And I feel like from an offensive perspective, I feel like David Robinson, too.
Coach, what about you defensively, and anyone who's kind of caught your eye so far?
Well, I think we got a couple of linebackers that got to step up and run. We've had some good linebackers over the years. Kylan White, Hezekiah White, his brother played for us for 4 years, and so he's ready to step up. But it's good to see those guys grow and mature in their bodies, and they step up. A guy like Brandon Larry, who's a transfer we got in last January, from junior college. He's really impressive. And we got some young DBs that's going to have to step up and make some plays for us.
I think about also with how many close games that you played last year and the ability to win close games. Having a guy like Gavin Lassane has to be pretty good, too. First kicker to serve as a kicker 3 straight years since 2013 for you. Hey, take me through what that's done to have a guy like that and have that consistency at that spot.
Well, in that whole specialist group, you know, I know sometimes when these guys look at them, they always ask me what they doing all during practice, you know. But when you call that number, those guys are ready. It starts with Don Mercado with the snap. You know, Kohen even stepped in a little bit with some of the holding, getting that ball down, and Gavin puts it through. So we got a young guys that's going to come in and help us with the kicking game and the punting, and we should be okay.
Let's talk schedule a little bit. Not easy to start out for sure. You're taking on a couple of FBS teams. It's been customary for you to do that. We were talking about this. Your first game as head coach in Nicholls was against ULM, and now you get to repeat that in week 2. South Alabama is a team you took to overtime a little while back. What excites you most about the schedule?
Look, I like that we're really close games. I mean, I know we're going to always have to play these FBS schools. It gives us a good measuring stick to see where we are and see we're going to be able to fit in, you know, once we get further down the conference. But our guys got to understand that it's not going to be perfect going in. You know, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. We got to show improvement week in and week out. But I'm excited to go back to those places and maybe we can change the outcome we did the last couple of times we played them.
For both of you guys, 3 straight on the road to start, 5 of your first 6 are away from home. What's the key to being ready for that, and especially maybe some of the younger guys, letting them know what they're in for in terms of some of these environments?
Okay. I think the main key is just to stay focused. You know, I mean, that's a lot of distractions going on the road every week like that, going different places, long rides, and just staying focused and taking it one day at a time from Monday through the week, and then, you know, just being focused, knowing it's a business trip as well, you know, not having too much fun, but, you know, just keeping it professional.
Right. And I feel like there's a lot of pros and cons to it, you know. We tend to don't think about it that way, like, oh, it's going to be tough. You know what I'm saying? We still have to play, you know. We still have to play, but I feel like towards the end of the season, that's the bright side, you know. We don't have to travel as much, bumps and bruises, so we won't have to travel, get on the bus. Still got to go to treatment and everything. So I feel like we're going to be right at our facility towards the end of the season.
I don't know if we had any question for Coach or not. I thought I might saw a hand, but I think we're good there. Yeah, and then obviously from a conference perspective, too, Coach, shifting from this, you know, playing a team twice back to the normal format. What's your take on your conference schedule and kind of the way it's shaped now?
Well, I think last year we talked about it. We did what we had to do and to make the schedule work and play it twice. I don't think anybody was really in favor of doing that. I mean, I love playing Southeastern. That's our rival. It's a great game on that Thursday night every year, but I don't want to do it twice during the year. And so we got away from that, which I think is really great. A little bit of different this year, too. We play Incarnate Word, but it's going to be a non-conference game. Well, that's the game that's off our schedule. We already had them as a non-conference game, so we just kept that. That's going to be a little bit unique. But once again, you better be ready to go every week in the Southland Conference, whether you're home or away. It don't matter who you're playing. You better be ready. It's going to be some great competition. I think it's going to go back to the years before when they had some great competition in the Southland Conference.
Was this schedule designed, Coach, with the perspective of, you know, creating at-large opportunities, just kind of the way the schedule's built? Because, I mean, having that UIW game, we didn't know the way the conference schedule would shape out, but that's a huge one. A Jacksonville State team that's transitioning, a couple of, you mentioned, local-esque road games against FBS opponents. It can shape out that way if things fall the right way.
Yeah, when you start looking at, I hate to say it, but like even the polls during the week, it all matters on where you can fall and how you can move up. And I think that's key. If you want to get into the playoffs, you got to be a seasoned team, and you got to be able to go on the road. We do have a goal this year, though. We want to make the playoffs, obviously, but we want to host a playoff game and make it be more than one. And that's how I think you can advance further in this round.
Mm-hmm. I asked Glen Kohen about some defensive guys. I'll put you on the spot, too. And anyone who's you mentioned David Robinson, but anyone else who was stuck out on the offensive side of the ball, either at any positions, tight end, receiver, lineman?
On the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, offensive side.
Oh, okay. Terry Matthews is going to be a weapon for us. He's going to be huge. And that running back room, like you said, we're very deep. We got 4 or 5 guys that can really tote the rock. So those guys, and then some O-linemen stepping up, such as Bailey Truss. He's going to be a starter, and I'm looking forward to him taking on that role. Mikhail Hill, he was a starter, but he's taking on more of a leadership role. Very proud of him. Looking forward to that. And yeah, just the receivers, they're all going to be stepping up. So.
All right. Well, hey, appreciate all you guys. Looking forward to seeing you in action September 3rd against South Alabama. Coach Glen, Kohen, best of luck to you guys, all right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have Northwestern State, the Demons, coming up next. Head coach Brad Laird, Javon Antonio, wide receiver, defensive end Isaiah Longino. We roll on here from LeBear's Casino Resort here on Southland Media Day, presented by BuyB1.com.